Las Vegas, the sights and sounds. What a colourful city this is. We are here at night time. That is the Bellagio water show. There's all sorts of fantastic things to see and do in Las Vegas. It's not just a mecca of gambling, although that of course is the primary focus of this jewel in the desert. There's just so much to see here. There is the stratosphere. Believe it or not, there's a roller coaster on top of that Space Needle. But we're here to race this evening. Sebastian Bourdais, he's on the pole yet again. An amazing record. This is his 18th pole in just his 43rd ChampCar start. Absolutely amazing. Alongside him on the front row, his Newman has teammate Oriol Servia for the 4th time in his career on the front row. Not yet a pole position winner. Row 2 of the grid, Jimmy Vasser. He lives here in Las Vegas, and his PKV teammate Cristiano D'Amata, the 2002 champion. Back on row 3, Björn Verdheim, his best ever qualifying effort in the Champ Cars for the former S3000 champion. Alongside him, Mario Dominguez. On row 4 of the grid, Rodolfo Lavin. Excellent job for HVM, although he did crash on Friday night in practice. He's running a backup car. Alongside him, AJ Allmendinger. Back on row 5, AJ's teammate Justin Wilson. Those Rousport guys have been really struggling with the handling of those cars. Marcus Marshall, his first ever top 10 start. Good effort for him. Nelson Philippe and Ronnie Bremer for Dale Coyne Racing on row 6. Good effort by the young Dane there. Row 7, Alex Tagliani. He's been struggling a little bit in the second of the Aussie Vineyards Derek Walker Racing cars. And Paul Tracy, a poor qualifying run, but he was quick in the subsequent practice. Timo Glock, he's just getting himself up to speed on this super speedway track. And Ryan Hunter Ray in the second of the Rocket Sports cars. The final row of the grid, Andrew Ranger for the MyJack Conquest Racing team, and Ricardo Sperafico, another Formula 3000 champion. Hi everybody, my name is Jeremy Shaw. I'm joined this evening by Darren Manning. Great to see you back here in Las Vegas, Darren. And just tell us, what are we going to expect for this evening's race?
I think it's going to be an absolutely fantastic race. You've got a really good specification on the cars. They're running in really high downforce trim, and this big super speedway is going to be, so close racing and a lot of side-by-side action.
Now we've got 166 laps coming up for you this evening, 400 kilometers. This race is being run. It's known as the ChampCar Hurricane Relief 400. All these proceeds from this race are going to the Red Cross Hurricane Relief Fund. So a great cause. And Sebastian Bourdais, the pole sitter, donated his $5,000 Bridgestone pole award to the Red Cross Fund. So that's a good gesture from Sebastian Bourdais. Big crowd on here, Darren Manning. A lot of people here. There's been a truck race already this evening, NASCAR trucks, and they're sticking around for the Champ Cars. Great to see a good atmosphere here. Yeah,
it's going to be absolutely fantastic as we get on to the last of the warm-up laps before we go green. Looking at a lot of the onboard footage here, even Jimmy Vasser's got this helmet cam on here. It looks very good.
Yeah, so going to be some great onboard footage this afternoon, no doubt about that. There is Jimmy's going to give us some great shots, and he's a local boy here. Another view from Jimmy's car. He lives here in Las Vegas. He had a difficult time. He had raced 1 year ago, but the 1996 champion is looking for a strong run for the PKV team. There on the outside of the front row is Oriol Servia. There is his team owners, Carl Hassan. Here is Paul Newman. Won an Emmy Award this week. A multi-award winning actor is Paul Newman, and we're getting ready for the green flag here in Las Vegas. 166 laps to come. And here we are, we're coming up for the green flag, and the race is underway. The green, we're waiting for the green. They're bringing the cars up to speed. There is the green flag.
And already 4 or 5 wide at the start here, going across the start-finish line. Absolutely amazing stuff.
AJ Allmendinger on the outside there, the yellow car, the Intel car for the Rousport team. As you can see them going around the corner, the red light on the back of the car signifies those of rookie drivers.
And if it's flashing, that means a push to pass. A different rule for the push to pass this weekend. It's not RPM and boost, it's just only boost. And nobody's really sure how much speed that's actually going to give these guys.
They did practice with the push to pass yesterday in a final practice session. But as you say, Darren Manning, there's a lot of question marks this afternoon, but that was a great start from AJ Allmendinger, but now he seems to be slipping back.
Also a great start by Alex Tagliani, very aggressive on the start there, and also already you're seeing the two Newman Haas cars pulling away, but Jimmy Vasser trying to breach that gap, and Tag it looks like he's got a pretty good car after the setup in warm-up.
He is, but around the outside there is Tagliani. On the outside of Alex Tagliani is Mario Dominguez, and right behind those two is Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy also making the move from 14th on the grid. Look at this, 3 wide. Absolutely absolutely three abreast.
Got to be so careful there, Alex Tagliani on the inside. Look, somebody's got to give way. Looks like it was Dominguez on the middle there. Tagliani and Tracy. Very
smart move by Mario Dominguez, Darren Manning.
Yeah, I would probably do the same with those two either side of me as well.
With 160 laps to go this evening, you can't really win it on the fourth and fifth lap, or third lap as it is right now, but you can certainly lose it.
Yeah, already you can see those guys just battling side by side there, just dropping a little bit behind, and already Jimmy Vassar's caught onto the back of the two Newman Haas cars there, and already challenging Oriel around the outside of turn 2.
Looks like he got a bit of a good drive there, did Jamie? He's on the outside. Here we are on board with Oriel Serbia, and to his right, yes, there is a note there to Jimmy Vassar. Can he make that pass stick on the outside line? It's a long way around, Darren.
Yeah, absolutely, but there's going to be the car's going to be a lot freer here, and you can see Oriel getting a good draft off his teammate. The guy out front, he doesn't want to be out there for too long because these cars create such a draft, and you can see Oriel just straight up the gearbox of his teammate there.
Now, we saw last year when the Champ Cars ran on the Las Vegas Speedway 1.5 mile oval that we had a pit window. They had to pit every so many laps. I think it was lap 37 or whatever it was last year. This year, there's no pit lane rule, so therefore fuel management is even more crucial than before, Darren.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not really what Björn wants. I mean, he's got to do it because he's so fast on that inside line, but he's going to be using a hell of a lot more fuel than the guys behind him who are in his draft.
Yeah, now look at Paul Tracy. He's towed up on the back of this Jimmy Vassar on the outside, and Paul Tracy tucks in behind him as well, and Paul is going to the outside. This is amazing. Paul really struggled in qualifying.
3 wide. Oh, they touched.
Oh, they've touched.
Oh,
what? They've saved it.
Yeah, that was very, very aggressive there by Paul Tracy. You know, he squeezed down. He did the same move on Tagliani and Dominguez earlier, and nearly got away with it. And now it looks like he's going to try for the lead. This is very aggressive driving by Tracy around the outside.
Sensational stuff. Björn Verdheim has got himself up in the top 4 or 5 as well. He started in 5th place, fell back a little bit, but has now got himself back up to 4th place, right behind this trio. There is Björn in the Eurosport car. Liquid Moly sponsorship on that car as well for the HVM team, and Björn is really moving up very, very well indeed. He's used a couple of pushes on his push to pass button by the looks of it. They have 60 seconds worth, as you said, Darren Manning, and what they're doing is it comes in 10-second bursts. They're flat out around here in regular driving. So what happens normally when you lift off the throttle, then the push to pass ceases to function. As you said, there's an extra 2 inches of boost here this evening for the Cosworth push to pass, and that gives them.
Yeah, we're just getting a replay here of this is on board with Jimmy Vassar touching Tracy there.
That was scary.
Three wide. There's not much room.
Yeah, we've seen you do a couple of those moves in the past in the IRL cars, Darren Manning, and that
was a good save by Jimmy. You know, there is a definite 2-groove racetrack around here. There's a lot of banking, and the downforce levels that are running, they can definitely run 2 wide. But 3 wide with Tracy on your outside, he doesn't give you much room on a normal racetrack, let alone an oval.
Now, how much of that was luck and how much of that was judgment?
Well, I think Jimmy saw that Tracy was pinching him down a little bit and decided to just back out of it, but obviously couldn't do anything because, you know, when you're up behind these cars, you're losing so much front-end grip. Your car wants to wash up wide, so Tracy should have really given a little bit more room, knowing that there was 2 cars. His spotter probably shouting in his ear saying, 2 inside, 2 inside.
But when you've made the contact, yep. You're behind the wheel, you've made contact, you know you've got a problem. What do you do?
Close your eyes.
Yeah. And hang on for grim death, and that's exactly what Jimmy did. He's fallen back a couple of positions, but he's still in 6th place. So Paul Tracy has made the move to the front, and Cristiano D'Amato, meanwhile, has gone all the way to the back, all the way back to 15th place as a 2002 champion after starting in 4th.
Yeah, we were talking to the guys at PKV, and he wasn't very comfortable running in traffic at all. His car was washing out, and he couldn't keep it down on the white line, which he needs to do. But you're never out of this race. You know, he can probably get some front wing in the car when he makes some pit stops if his car's understeering or something. He's probably shouting at the guys in the pits to try and see if they can make any pressure changes, wing changes to help him out. But as you see, nobody's nowhere near getting lapped. Nobody's going to get away with this race for sure.
I think you're right. They're about maybe half a lap from first to last. Ricardo Sperafico and Andrew Ranger running at the back, and they're certainly losing a little bit of ground. Their last lap time was a 27.3, a 27.4. The leaders a 27.0. That's in seconds. 27.980. 1.8 seconds. That is a speed of 199 miles an hour, so about 320 kilometers an hour. It's high-speed action here on this 1.5-mile track, and there's a battle there that is between Alex Tagliani and Jimmy Vasser. We're on board with Jimmy. He's running the high line here, Darren, and Alex Tagliani keeping down low in the Team Australia car.
This is what we were expecting from this race. You know, the guy on the outside just hitting a brick wall when he tries to overtake the guys around the inside. If you've got a good car, you just hold it down on that white line. Even if Bourdais here has got a faster car than Tracy, he just needs to keep it on that white line and make Bourdais go hit that brick wall when he gets on his outside and try and go the long way round. And you're seeing battles like this all the way down the field. Mario Dominguez and Rodolfo Lavigne doing exactly the same side by side. You can't do it too much because you're going to lose the toe from the guys in front.
So there we are, 14 laps down now. Paul Tracy's still out front, the car number 3, the in-deck car of Forsyth Racing, and the team is telling him 27 laps until he has to make a pit stop, so around about 40 or lap 41 before the first round of pit stops, we believe. But right now it's Tracy out in front, followed by Bourdais and Servia, and then Wertheim in fourth. So there is Jimmy Vasser running now in 6th place behind Alex Tagliani, and he's looking to make a move on the outside. He gets a big draft on that straight. He's able to get sort of kind of alongside, but not quite past.
As soon as it pulls out from underneath the rear wing of the car in front, he just hits that brick wall. With these rear wings that they're running, they're road course wings with a rearward facing gurney on the rear flap, which increases even more drag, slows the car down even more. So they're absolutely planted. They can go really fast underneath the rear wing like that. Jimmy pulls out, hits that brick wall and can't go any further, especially going the long way round. So he needs to try and pinch Tagliani down a little bit, try and get a little bit closer to him, so he has to lift out of it like Tracy was doing to get to the lead.
Yeah, Jimmy just seems to be losing a little bit more racetrack there. He's just trying every line, isn't he? Trying to get a run off the corners to get a bit more speed on the straight. Here's that move again. There's 3 abreast. That was Servia on the inside, Vasser in the middle, and PT, the ever-aggressive PT on the outside. And boy, what a move that was. And Jimmy Vasser had a huge moment, and that was a sensational piece of driving at that speed to get it under control that quickly. And it wasn't really even that big of a wobble, but a remarkable effort. Here's again on board from Jimmy Vasser. There goes Paul Tracy to the outside in the Forsyth car. And remember, Oriol Servia, there he is, the car number 2, the Pacific car on the inside as well. There is that contact, and boy,
amazing save there.
The right front wheel on the side pod of Tracy's car, and it kind of bounced away. If that had hit the rear wheel as well of Paul Tracy's car,
that would have been very, very dangerous. There's not much room, even when the cars are stationary, to put your front wing and front wheel onto the side pod there. So that was pretty naughty by PT there, knowing that there was 2 guys. Oriol had nowhere lower he could go, and Jimmy didn't want to hit anybody there.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Of course, they all have their spotters here above the tower, right above us in the main tower here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Dave Brzezinski is the spotter for Paul Tracy, and he would have been presumably telling PT there's 2 cars inside, as you were saying, Darren Manning. But here we are. Here are the leaders. There is Paul Tracy, car number 3, out in front again, and he's now at least the championship battle is between these 2, of course, and Oriol Servia, who, as a result of his great victory, finally his 95th start last time out in Montreal, has moved up into the 2nd place in the championship. But a huge lead for Sébastien Bourdais coming into this weekend. He had a 61-point lead coming in. He gained another point for the pole. He then gained another point for leading in the early stages. But now Paul Tracy has cancelled by that by leading himself. There is his last 4 lap speeds for Paul Tracy, as you can see, very, very consistent, Darren Manning.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they're pretty good lap times by himself, towing everybody round. He's absolutely flat out all the way around here, and Bourdais probably just going to sit underneath his rear wing all day long and save some fuel for his pit stop. And on that last pit stop, hopefully he's got less fuel to put in and do a faster pit stop and do him. So I'm sure Bourdais is very happy. His car looks to be handling very well, as Björn has been fast all weekend. He's been very impressive in that team.
He has, and he's been quick, moderately quick all season long, as we would expect. He's a former Formula 3000 champion, so we knew he was going to be fairly strong coming into this season. We've seen flashes of what he can do. He led in Monterey, admittedly through pit stop strategies, but did a good job there. Has done a good job on several other occasions, but I know the team feels he hasn't really shown what he can do, what he really is capable of. But he just feels very comfortable on the ovals. It was the same when he went to Milwaukee, and boy, Milwaukee Milwaukee Oval is a very tough place, but Björn, that was prior to this weekend, that was his best qualifying effort in the Champ Cars. Started 8th there and was running very well, top rookie until the late stages when he brushed the wall. Came here, felt comfortable right away, and you know, as you say, he's running superbly. He's actually set the fastest lap of the race so far as Björn Bergman at 26.847, 201.140. I think that was when he used the push to pass, but he's certainly running well. And here again is that battle for the lead now. Paul Tracy's still out front, and as you say, Sebastian Bourdais tucked in close behind him. When you tucked in behind, you're saving fuel.
Absolutely, and also he's helping Paul go a little bit faster as well. You know, you're probably, two cars will share a little bit more air, so Bourdais doesn't need to really be coming out of his draft too often. He can probably save some fuel by lifting a little bit, as we see them really closing up on this the last little group of back markers there that have dropped off the lead pack.
And the race control is sending a message to the teams at the back, the drivers at the back of the field, and those two, actually the two Myjack Conquest Racing teammates, Andrew Ranger and Nelson Philippe. Ricardo Sperafico a little bit in front of them, and they're getting the teams are getting a message from race control, say the leaders are coming up behind, watch your mirrors, get ready to be overtaken.
Yeah, poor old Justin's dropped off, and Cristiano D'Amata, they'll be the next in line as well. Justin running in 14th and Cristiano running in 15th. They're a little bit off the pace. They're running a couple of mile an hour slower than the leaders. So they need to get a bit of a yellow or a pit stop so they can help their get back underneath the rear wing of some of these leaders.
I was chatting to Nelson Philippe just a little while ago, and he was saying that he was just exasperated with his car. He had a good run here 1 year ago, in actual fact, for the Myjack Conquest Racing team, but this weekend it's been a big struggle. He didn't qualify too badly. In fact, the car was at its best in qualifying. Started 11th. There is another move there as he goes past Andrew Ranger.
Going past Paul, getting a bit of traffic in between him and Bourdais. That's a pretty good move. Maybe Bourdais is going to have to lift here as he goes round him. No, it looks like he's got through cleanly. That's very good driving by Nelson Philippe. That was nice to keep out of the way. Spotters obviously did a good job there.
Yep, indeed. The spotters, as I say, play an absolutely crucial role at these speeds. There's very little time to react for these drivers, so all the information they can get is to their benefit and everybody else's benefit as well. So next in the sight of the race leader will be Ricardo Sperafico, the Sonny's Barbecue car, the second of the Dale Coyne Racing entries, and his teammate Ronnie Bremer running a very good 8th place. After 29 laps, it's Paul Tracy leading from Sebastian Bourdais here in Las Vegas. Back on board again with the now 3rd place car of Oriol Servia. Last time out, as we've said, in Montreal just 3 weeks ago in his 95th Champ Car start. Finally, that long overdue maiden victory, and boy, that was such a popular victory, Darren Manning.
Absolutely, I know everybody loves Oriol. You know, he's a very good friend of all the drivers here, and throughout racing in America, really, he's created a really good name for himself, and a lot of us were very pleased to see him get this good ride, even though it was a little bit of unfortune for Bruno as well. So, but everybody's very pleased for him to get that first win for sure.
A note here from the pit lane. Bourdais says his car is loose, and he's calling for a little bit of turn on the left front wing when he comes in to make his first pit stop, Darren Manning.
Yeah, a little bit. Probably going to take out some front wing if he's a little loose. Try and stop that crossweight on that left-hand side. So they probably don't want to do both front wings. Very sensitive at these high speeds, so they probably don't need to do too much. But they don't want to spend too long in the pit stops anyway.
Paul Tracy, he's saying his car is a little bit loose, even though it's running out in front, and he is trying on board. He's softening the rear roll bar. They have an adjustable roll bar inside the cockpit of these cars. They can change either end of the car to just affect that handling balance a little bit. Yeah,
absolutely. Also with the weight jacker, you'll see sometimes them pressing buttons, which could be a radio, could be a drinks bottle, but also there's a little weight jacker, which is putting a little bit more weight or less weight on the left front wheel, which will more weight on that left front will give more front end grip, less weight on that front left is going to give more rear end grip.
Yeah, of course the fuel tanks of these cars are between the engine and the driver, so it's fairly centrally located, but as that fuel load burns down, it does alter the weight balance of the car, and at these speeds it also alters the handling balance.
Especially now we're getting a lot of reports from guys like D'Amata needing big changes and things, and obviously now at 33 laps gone, we're 33, 34 laps gone, the cars are getting very, very light on fuel load, and some of the handling's probably going to change absolutely hugely. As you see, the three leaders have pulled away quite a lot from Björn and Antagligen and Vassar.
I need a big James, says the little man, Shorty Cristiano D'Amato, struggling way back in 15th place.
He's the next guy that's going to get gobbled up by the leaders. He's only a few seconds in front of Tracy and Bourdais. So hopefully he's going to get into the pits to make that big change that he wants before he goes a lap down.
So 35 laps down now. We're expecting pit stops in probably 5 or 6 laps for the leaders. Yep. And I would be surprised certainly if Paul Tracy was not among the first of the guys to pit, because he has been out in front and he's been the guy who's been carving through the air first of all. The guys behind sitting in his slipstream. And are you able to lift off a little bit in that slipstream?
Watching on the onboard camera there and listening to the throttle movement of Bourdais and Servia with the onboard cameras there. They've definitely been lifting off the throttle in the corners, and because Tracy's been pushing that hole in the air for those guys to go through. So expect Bourdais and Oriel to go a few more laps than Tracy.
They're really
if it stays green, of course.
If it stays green, there you go. That's the key, of course. You want to try and make a pit stop under yellow if you possibly can, because if you make a pit stop under green flag conditions here, there's a 2-stage pit limiter in use here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. 85 miles an hour around the apron. They're down to 50 miles an hour down the pit lane, but you're going to lose certainly 1 lap and probably 2 laps.
Making a green flag pit stop. Laps, I would say, yeah, for sure.
There you go. So if you can make a pit stop under green, you'll have to do so. But Bourdais reports his front shock cover is coming loose, so that'll be a bit disconcerting.
Yeah, when he's really close underneath the rear wing of another car, let's say obviously Tracy, that he's getting a big draft, a big suction, a huge vacuum, which he's sucking, which is not what the bodywork's meant to be doing. We saw it with Justin Wilson in San Jose actually, when he went past one of the air dryers, he actually blew that front shock cover off.
2 laps we're hearing until Sebastian Bourdais will be on pit lane. There is Rodolfo Lavine doing an excellent job this weekend. He's been right up at the front all weekend long. As I said, he crashed in the final practice yesterday night after qualifying. He was the air was taken off the car. I think it was Paul Tracy that went past him and kind of took the air off the car. They just made a change to Rodolfo Lavine's car to free it up a little bit more, get a bit more straight line speed, and it kind of took him by surprise. Yes, there is Paul Tracy coming onto pit lane. Here is now the battle for lead. Oriel's
just done it, yeah.
He's made a move around the outside.
Save some fuel, maybe a bit of pit strategy. As Bourdais' shock cover's just come off. There'll probably be a yellow flag now for some debris, so this actually might fall into Paul Tracy's hands.
Depends when he comes out. If he waits any longer, then it'll be bad news for Paul Tracy, because he'll probably lose 2 laps. And the officials are watching out to see where that shock cover landed and whether it is in a safe location.
This is going to be very interesting as we see Bourdais coming into the pits without his shock cover, and a lot of other guys. The 4-side cars are both in the pits.
Oriel stays out. There is Mario Dominguez making his first pit stop of the day. Looks like a routine service there. There is a tweak though. It looks like 3 turns to that front wing.
Absolutely, yeah. He was probably struggling in the traffic to try and keep his front end gripping.
There's Sebastian Bourdais trying to get into his pit.
That's probably cost him some speed coming down the pit lane there. As we look at his front shock cover.
He's not very happy, is he? Look at that. Frustration for Sebastian Bourdais.
Wait a minute now. We're just finishing the fuel.
Can you see where
it can actually run like that? There's going to be absolutely no problem. It's going to affect the aerodynamics a little bit. He's maybe going to be a little bit slow, a little bit more drag.
little bit more bite on the front of the car, actually.
I'm not too sure. It's just probably going to mess up the whole of the aerodynamics.
See that flashing light there? That it shows that the slow flashing light means that the pit lane speed limiter is on as he comes out of the pit. You can see the exhaust lane. Oriel Servia, the racer, is into the pits.
It's hard on the gas there. You can see the flames coming out of both exhausts. The wastegate's there. Dumps the clutch. Spins the wheels and away he goes.
Spectacular stuff there, isn't it?
Especially at night. Absolutely, yeah.
A big crowd on hand here at this Las Vegas.
As we see, Paul Tracy still out in lead from Bourdais. So even though Bourdais was able to go another lap, he ended up still coming out behind Tracy.
Resulting in that being held up going into his own pit
by Tracy.
Ironically.
And here's Oriel coming out on the back straight away. See where he comes out into with regards to the leaders. Up to speed through the gears as another car comes into the pits. And the leaders are just passing him now. Yeah, Here's you see a replay. Baudet underneath the rear wing of his teammate.
Watch the shot cover. Right below the F&I and C of Pacific Air. Whoa, there it goes.
I mean, if that stayed on the track, I'm surprised that the officials didn't throw a yellow flag. So maybe it came off and into the grandstands for some souvenir for a spectator.
Yeah, really, a great souvenir. As you can see, the grandstands, they keep the bottom sort of 10 rows or so clear, just in case of that sort of thing. There is Craig Hampson, who is a race engineer for Sebastian Baudet. I was talking to Craig earlier on, and he was saying, you know, it's amazing how much effort goes into this one race. There's only one super speedway race on the ChampCar World Series schedule this year, and he was saying that it's the amount of effort that goes into this one race is really disproportionate to the amount of effort that goes in over the season.
This is a real
man is running well. It's Paul Tracy in the lead, Sebastian Baudet in second. 44 laps completed here in Las Vegas out of 166. So
100% impact next week on Eurosport 2. Every night, the bell will ring for the best in fight sports. We have a kickboxing exclusive live from Minsk. There's all the glamour and glory of K1. All action wrestling the American way. KO Mania. The word from the Fight Club, Eurosport's exclusive magazine. And it's full contact with Pancrase. 100% impact every night next week on Eurosport 2. Countdown to the World Cup, Eurosport has the all-inclusive ticket. And don't forget Eurogoals and Top 24, Eurosport's essential and exclusive weekly magazine shows. Football's World Cup season with Eurosport.
So here we are back in Las Vegas, and it is Paul Tracy. There is Sebastian Baudet in second place, shock cover or no shock cover, and it is the latter that is the case right now. We saw it blow off a few laps ago, and Darren Manning doesn't seem to be affecting him. He's running pretty strongly in second place with his teammate Oriol Servia right behind him. And now into fourth place is Jimmy Vasser, who's a fair way back from the three leaders, but certainly running very, very strongly. There comes Jimmy now as the leaders are coming out of turn two. So he's about 6 or 7 seconds behind them, but running well in fourth place after that early drama when he and Paul Tracy banging wheels.
He's running pretty quick laps as we see Baudet going underneath. Even without the shock cover, he's able to get underneath Tracy, who were looking to be struggling to keep it down on the white line, and Tracy comes back very, very close with the front wing there on the rear wheel, hopefully trying to get him blocked in with his back marker.
I'll be surprised if Paul Tracy didn't let him go here and just tuck him behind him. I mean, you only, in years past, you gained an extra championship point for leading most laps, and that is, there is that's Andrew Ranger right ahead of them now. And
looks like Tracy's done it.
He's got past him, hasn't he? So it's a good battle going on here.
It did look like Baudet's struggling to keep it down as low as he has been, but it looks like everybody seems to be struggling with a little bit of some sort of ill-handling car, and Baudet's got another run on him. It looks like maybe he's going to stay behind him this time, but
Now Baudet's got to get his focus back. He was, you can see during that pit stop, he was clearly frustrated, being held up as he came into his pit stop, lost a bit of ground, lost the lead as a result of it, because he'd gone a couple of laps longer than PT. That should theoretically give him a little bit of an advantage, but he lost that advantage, and now he's looking to gain it back again. But he's a pretty focused individual, isn't he, Darren Manning?
Yeah, in the pit stop, that's time to get a little bit of a drink, have a bit of a conversation with your engineer, try and get a couple of changes, see how the car's going and things. They're telling you to watch your pits, watch your marks, hit your marks, come out of the pit box nice and clean. So it was a bit of a rest time, and I'm sure as soon as he got his foot off that clutch and speeding down the pit lane, I'm sure he refocused.
Are you that calm?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, he didn't look like he was very calm, but no, I know I am.
Yes, Darren.
Honest.
Absolutely honest. Honest, Gov.
Honest.
Thanks, Darren Manning. So there is again the battle for the lead. Paul Tracy back out in front now. He's led 42 laps tonight out of the 52 so far. Sebastian Baudet led 7 laps, and Oriol Servia also has gained a championship point for leading those 3 laps during that first pit stop sequence. And we can see the first 3, 1, 2, 3. Here's a replay again of the shock cover coming off Baudet's car, looking back
very loose
from
there.
Oriol Servia.
That's how much of a vacuum there is behind the car in front, and it even looks like Baudet's hand came out of the cockpit to try and push it back down. So that just shows you how much of an effect these rear wings are having, getting pushed through the air at 200 miles an hour. There's absolutely no air behind these cars. And Bordet, you can see him coming out from underneath the rear wing. You know, he's getting no wing, a lot less air to his radiators, cooling the engine down as well. So his team's obviously monitoring this in the pit lane and telling him to maybe cool his engine down. He's getting a lot cooler feet now, especially without that shock cover for sure.
And the crew has said from the pit lane they will not replace that shock cover unless there is a full course caution. That would cost them probably 3 or 4 or 5 seconds probably to replace that shock cover, and if it's not affecting him that badly, I'm sure they'll leave him out on the racetrack. So,
yeah, it'd be interesting to see what the guys do in pit lane. I'm sure they're getting the spare one with a lot of tape ready to go on, so they can just absolutely slap it on, tape it up. They won't use the Zeus fasteners that they normally do, which normally takes a screwdriver in a couple of seconds. They'll probably just tape it on there and send him out. It'll probably be a very efficient stop from the Newman Haas guys, I'm sure, as always.
Yeah, they practice for every eventuality, those guys, and we can be sure that very little is likely to take them by surprise. So there are the 3 leaders again. Oriol Serbia, what about 7 or 8 car lengths back, just about 1 car length between the 2 leaders, and then a gap of 6.5 seconds back to Jimmy Vasser in 4th place. Gap again about 3 seconds back to Tagliani in 5th. Then Mario Dominguez a similar margin back. Then Rodolfo Lavin. Timo Glock has got himself up into 8th place. And a train of cars, there's Lavin, Glock, Allmendinger and Wertheim, all pretty much nose to tail. And then Ryan Hunter-Ray, who is I think the final car on the lead lap at the moment. Look out the window, there goes Jimmy Vasser in front of us as the leaders come out of turn 2 and onto the back straightaway here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The Nellis straightaway, as it is known. Nellis Air Force Base is right off the eastern edge of the racetrack behind there, and we often get a great show here, an air show from Nellis Air Force Base. The US Air Force Thunderbirds are based right here, and they often do a lot of practicing around in this area. Spectacular sight, and all sorts of military aircraft coming and going. So if you're an aircraft buff and a motor racing fanatic, this is a great place to come and watch.
Yeah, you can just see how much grip these cars are producing, how low they can stay all the way around. That's a very, very tight line. You can see Bordet just moving out of underneath of Tracy's rear wing around the corner. So maybe he's just pushing up a little bit, just trying to get a bit of clean air onto those front wings.
Interesting, he's jockeying about a fair bit, isn't it? Car's moving around quite a lot.
Yeah, I think he's just working out what he's got to do and where he's strong, where he's fast. He's probably making sure he's getting his timing right. Obviously, this is a long race. We've still got over 100 laps to go, so he's working out where the grip is in the corner, how the shock covers are changing the aerodynamics of the car. He's maybe lost some front aerodynamics, or he's maybe gained some. So we'll probably see some changes from him in the next pit stop. But it's the end of the race that counts, and he's just happy to stay in there in 2nd place.
He is. There again, he's moved around on the outside this time, looking off turn 2. Going into turn 3 one more time, and again just going into the corner there, he jinks out of the slipstream. And
maybe there's nothing he can do there. Maybe his car is just pushing up. He's probably trying to turn the car down, but being that close to the rear wing of Tracy, he's not getting the aerodynamics to that front wing to keep him down there.
Because you'd have thought every time he moves out there, he's having to push more air out of the way and losing a little bit more fuel. So I'm sure the preference for Sebastian Bourdais would be to be tucked underneath the gearbox.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's maybe just finding it, making sure he can run that high line, how his car is handling through the corners up there, because that's probably going to be the only way he's going to get round Tracy. He's not going to give up that white line on the bottom of the track there.
That's right. The race director Tony Cotman has told the drivers you're not allowed to go below that white line. That white line is the delineation from the apron of the racetrack and the banked part of the oval. And
you probably don't want to do that as a driver. The probably only places you want to do are on the straights.
Yeah, on the apron here, certainly on the front apron. It's a D-shaped oval here in Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and the front sort of straightaway, if you like, is a big curve around the front side here where the main grandstand is. And certainly, you do want to keep the shortest way around, which is right on that white line. But the only way to make a pass is maybe to get below that white line, conceivably. But Tony Cotman, the race director, has said absolutely no running below that white line. If you do so, you will be penalised.
And you'll probably be penalised by a squirrely car as well. Your car getting way out of shape because you've got the banking on the straights, and these cars have been set up to turn left only and use that banking. You've got stagger in the tyres. Your right side tyres are larger than your left side tyres. You've got stiffer springs on the right than you have on the left. The whole car, when you let go of the steering wheel, this car's going to turn sharp left. So if you get onto a flat part of the track, even only with two wheels, the car is going to get really out of shape, and you're going to have to be very confident to make that move, even if you were allowed.
That's the onboard shot from the Pacific Air car of Oriol Serbia, running, as you can see, in third place, and that is the margin between these two. It's amazing how they've stayed just in exactly the same formation, maybe a little bit.
You heard him lift there a little bit on the breathe on the throttle there, as we see. Absolutely,
you can see how much he's lost as a result of that. Going into the corner, he was only 2 or 3 car lengths behind. That little breathe off the throttle, and the gap's gone out to what, 12, 15 car lengths, Darren Manning?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, and he's probably not too worried when 2 cars are in front of you. You're getting an absolutely huge draft, as we see Jimmy Vasser and Alex Tagliani in the back markers.
Yeah, Marcus Marshall and Justin Wilson.
He looks actually like he's catching back up to the leaders.
Yeah, actually, Justin he's just overtaken Marcus Marshall for 12th place. His last lap was a 27.1, just about the same as the race leaders. And there is Jimmy Vasser's car. He's saying the car is picking up a vibration. That's the 4th place car of Jimmy Vasser. He's still about the same margin behind this front threesome. About 6.5 seconds or so from Oriol Serbia back to Jimmy Vasser in 4th place.
Yeah, you know, vibration, that could be a little bit of pickup on the tyres. Obviously, there's a lot of rubber going down on this track now. Obviously, there was a NASCAR truck race before this, and they had to clean up all the nasty Goodyear rubber and pick up some more of the ChampCar Bridgestone rubber. So that's probably going on right now. You can see a nice black line in the corner. So it's another set of tyres that maybe weren't perfectly balanced as well. At 200 mile an hour, these tyres need to be absolutely perfectly balanced.
You talk about that different rubber laid down on the racetrack, and we'll come back to that in just a moment. But here we are. We've now 68 laps completed out of 166 in the Hurricane Relief 400 at Las Vegas. About that, Darren Manning, about the different rubber of these cars. Usually the Craftsman Truck Series was running here. They run on the Goodyear tires, and of course the Bridgestone's here for the Champ cars. Yep. And how much does it affect the cars when there is different rubber laid down on the racetrack? Absolutely
hugely. You know, these guys won't have really known what the cars were going to handle like in the first part of this race until they got a nice layer of Bridgestone rubber down, and we've seen a lot of changes being made in that first pit stop, and a lot of different complaints already now. So around now, this is probably when the track's probably going to start getting better and better, and a wider racing line is coming about, as we see Tracy taking a totally different line. He's actually moving up the track a lot more now.
That's interesting. Just opening the doors a bit, Sebastian Bourdais, just giving a little bit of a tease and using up a lot of room there, coming off the 4th turn that time. There is Cristiano de Manna again now right in front of them, about to go 2 laps down is Cristiano in 14th place, and what an ignominious evening it's been for Cristiano. He came into here with very high hopes. He qualified in 4th place, and he's just struggling more and more as the evening goes along.
Yeah, he's still complaining of a way loose car, and as you see him give way there to Tracy, you know, not happy with this super speedway package at all.
And that's a horrible feeling for a race driver. The car is loose at these speeds, and you have no confidence in the car.
No, you can't do anything. If you lift off, it actually makes the car even worse. So you just end up just nursing it round and round, and just hoping you stay as close to the lead as you possibly can.
Sebastian Bourdais lost a little bit of ground aboard Tracy that time, and meanwhile his engineer Craig Hampson has been talking to Sebastian on the radio saying, how is the car? And Sebastian's response was, don't know. I think that means he's a bit busy right now, does it?
I think so, especially with Tracy moving around the track. They were just going through a little bit of back markers as we run on board with Oriol Serbia here, and the leaders, the 3 leaders, they're spacing out a bit. As I was saying, the track conditions are changing a little bit now. Their cars were obviously very good at the beginning of the race. They maybe like the Goodyear rubber, and now that the track's changing, getting a lot more of their rubber down. Things looks like Tracy's pulling away a little bit.
He is. He's passing Ryan Hunter-Reay. So Ryan Hunter-Reay is the next guy to go 1 lap down. The Cybermax car of car number 31, the Rocket Sports entry of Ryan Hunter-Reay, been running fairly well, but he finally does go that 1 lap down. He's running in 11th place is Ryan Hunter-Reay. So after 74 laps, we've got Tracy Bourdais and Serbia out in front, a gap of about 6.5 seconds, a little bit more to Jimmy Vasser, then a bit of a gap of about 5 seconds back to Alex Tagliani, then the Mario Dominguez, a big battle behind Mario, going with AJ Allmendinger, Timo Glock, Björn Verdheim and Rodolfo Lavin trying to hang on there in 10th place, and Rodolfo now is the final unlapped runner after 75 laps. He's on board with Jimmy Vasser again. Again,
you can see Jimmy actually shifting gears there. That's very unusual because these cars haven't got the electronics to shift without lifting. You know, he's having to come out of the gas or slightly dip the clutch as he's passing his poor teammate there, Cristiano. They were having a great weekend qualifying third and fourth, talking with both of them. They seemed pretty happy. The cars were getting better and better as we run on board with Jimmy in his helmet here. See if he shifts up down the back straight with a bit of a tailwind.
Well, that's the key. I was just going to mention that because I was talking to Craig Hampson, the race engineer for Sebastian Bourdais this morning, and there's been a pretty hefty wind here all weekend long, and that wind is affecting the cars down the back straight. It's a tailwind on the back straight.
You can see him shifting to sixth gear down the pit straight here. He's maybe trying to save a little bit of fuel. You can see his rev lights actually on the dashboard there. He's gone down to 2 lights on the left of the number 6 there as he goes down to 1 in the corners. So sixth gear is probably using less RPM and then also saving that little bit of fuel, which might be crucial. He's all the lights on there down the back straight. He's obviously a fairly strong tailwind. And also when you're in a draft, you're picking up RPM as well, which is probably why we were seeing earlier, he was probably in 6th gear and underneath the rear wing of Tagliani, he was probably running out of RPM and also, you know, which is probably slowing him down and stopping him from overtaking.
And just saying that, you know, Craig Hampson, the engineer, was telling me because of that wind, it really does affect the speed of these cars. And on the back straightaway with the tailwind, they're quite a bit quicker, a couple of miles an hour quicker down the back straight than around the front section here. And that really does mess up the gearing because these Cosworth engines are very susceptible. They've got to be in the right rev range to get, you know, the right balance of acceleration, not as much acceleration in 200 miles an hour, but maintaining that momentum and getting off that optimal boost level.
Absolutely. As soon as you go into the corner, the car's scrubbing speed and scrubbing RPM, so you ideally want to be changing down the gear.
But if you are changing, as you're saying, you're lifting, so that messes everything. As soon as you lift here at all, you lose valuable momentum.
Yeah, in the IRL, there's you can absolutely stay on full throttle and change down. They've got their regulations so that you can do that, but ChampCar's a little bit more driver orientated, so Jimmy's probably trying to shift up and down, trying to get used to it for maybe trying to overtake some of these other guys.
Indeed so. So we're getting now again close to the second round of pit stops. The first round, they came in from the first guys who pitted on lap 40. That would have been Paul Tracy amongst him. Also Alex Tagliani and Mario Dominguez came in on lap 40. Bourdais came in on 41. Servia on 42. So we're getting very close now. Another couple of laps, I think, to the second round of pit stops.
A little less battling going on now, so they might go an extra lap or two.
Well, I'm sure they'd want to because we've got 81 laps and it was a 166 lap race. So at this stage, they probably need to get another lap or two to get to the end on just 3 pit stops.
Yeah, talking to the guys, we see one of the Rocket Sport cars coming into the pits, and also it's
Timo Glock out of 10th place.
Looks like Tracy as well coming down the pits.
So again, Paul Tracy is the first of the leaders to pull onto pit lane. Again, just lap 82. So each time he's done 40 laps on the first stint, 41 on the second. That's going to leave him a couple of laps short.
No, he's obviously very happy with his car. He's running pretty quick pace.
They wait every last drop of fuel into that car, Darren.
Especially on a race like this where it's going to be very, very touch and go with strategy. And you know, I was talking to some of the guys. They were saying it's going to probably be a 4-stop race with lots of windows. But if they get some yellow, they need to get a lot of yellow flags to make it a 3-stop.
They're only going to need a couple of laps, because we've got 83 laps done now. So we're exactly halfway through the race out of 166. So the guys have not yet pitted. Easily now should be able to reach the finish on just one more pit stop. Here is Sebastian Bourdais. He's reached that threshold and he's looking good. He's lap 84. He's coming onto pit lane, and again his teammate Oriol Servia saving a little bit more fuel and staying out there.
Running in third place, he's saving a lot more fuel. We could see him before lifting off the gas a little bit, trying to go those extra couple laps to make sure that he could run maybe a little lighter in that last stop.
There you go, absolutely crucial. A little bit less fuel will take less time.
See if Bourdais gets any front wing here. He say he was very, very loose. Yeah, take a half a turn out of each side. That was pretty good. That'll be pretty significant change.
Tom Phillips leads that Newman Haas crew, the car number 1 on the pit lane.
That was a 10.9 pit stop. Tracy was a 10.3, so a little bit quicker for the Forsyth crew. That's probably that front wing change as we see Servia braking off the back straight. Very difficult to try and slow the car down off the banking onto the flat apron, and also with the setup of the car as well.
As we saw last year with Ryan Hunter-Reay losing it, and that's part of the racetrack. There's the 85-mile-an-hour stage limiter that are on right now, and you hear him come down to 50.
Yeah,
right there. Your marks, open approaches to your box. 4 tires, we're going to fill it up.
Yeah, the communications there with the engineer saying he's going to take 4 tires and clean it up. Hit your marks.
Absolutely crucial to hit your marks, Darren Manning.
That's what he's saying with that board in the centre there. That's giving the driver a centre line for where to put the nose of the car.
Get ready, hold it.
That was very, very close there. As a driver, you're listening to every inclination in the engineer's voice. And he had a little stutter there, and Oriole nearly went. I saw that.
Boy, you can see again that slow flash on the red light at the back of the car that indicates that the pit lane speed limit has been activated. And away goes Oriole Serbia. So again, a good stop, and you can see it's status quo at the front of the field. Paul Tracy out in front, and Serbia has cycled through. Björn also came onto pit lane last time around. So I think now everybody, I believe, has made their second pit stop of the day.
Yeah, Björn was last to pit there. As we see, still Tracy out in front.
Marcus Marshall actually happened. He also was the last guy to come in. He's now pulling onto the pit lane right in front of us, Marcus. So he was praying for a yellow for a lap or two, and it didn't come.
Yeah, that's what you want to stay out for as long as possible, because if you can,
there's all sorts of advantages, aren't there?
Absolutely, you can catch a yellow. You can.
So there we are on board with Oriole Serbia. He's again running in third place. There's still Paul Tracy out in front. He's lost quite a bit of ground during that round of pit stops. And Tracy and Bourdais is still out in front.
Extreme Week, soon on Eurosport 2. 100% impact on Eurosport 2. A week with the spotlight on fight sports, and some of the most explosive is still to come with the best in kickboxing. It's live. Be ready for it. Friday night and Sunday night, kickboxing live on Eurosport 2.
There is the battle for the lead here in Las Vegas. The Hurricane Relief 400, benefiting the Red Cross Hurricane Relief Fund. That's a very worthy cause. Our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to everybody in that Louisiana, Texas region, as a second hurricane in about a month has hit that area. There's a lot of damage down there, so there's a lot of good being done by the motor racing community to try and give something back to the world at large, and it's good to see. Certainly there's a big crowd on hand here this evening. There's been the double down in the desert here in Las Vegas, with the Craftsman trucks running a couple of hours earlier, and the battle for the lead now sees Paul Tracy still out in front. He's led most of the evening, 76 laps led so far for PT, and he's going to go past Cristiano D'Amata one more time. That'll be the third time that Cristiano has been lapped this evening, and boy, that has got to be so frustrating.
Yeah,
he came in here with such high hopes, Darren.
Yeah, I mean, qualifying fourth place, they obviously had a fast car in qualifying, and Jimmy's doing a very good job in fourth place as well. So the PKV crew are doing a great job, but he's just not happy with his car, and there's nothing you can do on an oval. You can't drive around it.
It was the same sort of thing at Milwaukee. Yes, they both qualified well there. Jimmy was on the pole, Cristiano was in the top five. Jimmy's car went a little bit in the race, but he was still able to maintain a top 4 or 5 running there. But Cristiano fell back right away.
Yeah, you see, it's very important to get the setups you use in qualifying on an oval are so different to the race setups, because you've got so much more weight on the fuel load's going off, the tyres are going off for that full 40 laps, and you're running a different line. You've got your grips going down, you're probably running a little bit more downforce, you're running in traffic, you're losing aerodynamic grip from running underneath the rear wing, as we see Bourdais doing that here. His car needs to be handling so well to run that close underneath the rear wing of Tracy, and obviously Cristiano didn't really work on that too well.
So fastest lap there for Paul Tracy. It's interesting, running out in front there. So that's the fastest lap of the race, they were saying there. I don't think that's actually quite right. It's Oriole Serbia who's shown as the fastest lap so far, 26.749 to Paul Tracy 26.822. So I'm not quite sure what that's all about, but Oriole Serbia is shown as the fastest lap at the moment. That is worth one bonus championship point as well. But just back a moment, we're not watching right now, but Cristiano D'Amata, it's been several years since he's been raced on an oval. Of course, he's been in Formula 1 with the Toyota team for a couple of years, but he does have 3 oval wins to his credit. His first win in the Champ Cars came at Chicago in 2000. He also won there in 2002. He won also on the Super Speedway at Fontana in 01. So he's got plenty of experience on this sort of tracks, Darren. Similar
kind of speedways to what we've got here at the big D Oval at Las Vegas. This aerodynamic spec is very different to what these cars have been running in before. A lot of downforce running on these cars now. So You know, it's quite different to what he's done before. As we see Tracy holding on to that inside line as Bourdais tries to go around the outside. You see that brick wall that these cars are punching through the air. It's going to be very difficult to Bourdais to go around.
Certainly interesting that Bourdais is trying to make that move at this stage in the race. It's a long way to go. 97 laps completed now, so 69 laps to go. And again, this time, as they go around into turn 2 and 3 one more time, turn 1 and 2 I should say, absolutely neck and neck going down the Nellis straightaway down the backside towards turn 3. And this time
to back off there and save some fuel, I'm sure. You know, his team are telling him just stay behind him, stay behind him. I'm sure that was a little bit of a ploy by Sebastian to just see what his car would do and see if he could actually cross that start-finish line, even if he's still alongside him. If he's got his nose an inch in front of Tracy at the start-finish line, he's won the race. So just seeing what his car handles like, and you get a little bit more speed coming off the corner on that high line. So down the straights you actually will pull ahead, but going around the corners you scrub a little more speed going the longer distance.
And of course we talked about it earlier on, not lately, but you have this push-to-pass function, and for 10 seconds it'll give you an extra 2 inches of boost. They're running at 39.5 inches of manifold boost pressure here, and most of the guys so far in the race have used none of it. Certainly 3 of the top 4 have used none of their push to pass so far. Paul Tracy has used it once.
I'm sure that was at the beginning where we saw him going through the field.
Indeed, but interesting, at least he now knows, he has a feel for exactly what that will do when he's running in traffic. And the other guys, you know, they're not really too sure. They did use it, they were able to practice a little bit with it last night, but they're only allowed 2 push to pass attempts last night during practice. Generally on a race meeting they don't use the push to pass at all until they begin the race, but because it's a completely different function this evening with just the boost rather than the extra RPMs as well, then they thought they better give him a bit of a tryout last night.
It'll be interesting to see what teams actually put a long enough 6th gear in the car to see how many more to get a little bit extra speed out of the car, and I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of these guys saving 30 seconds for that last lap, so they can have a full extra boost the whole way around.
Yeah, for the last 2 laps I think they'll use that. We've got 26-second laps here, so you know they'll use it the last 2.5 laps or so.
Yeah, it'll be a very fast couple of laps at the end there.
I think we should have said the reason they're not using the extra RPMs this evening as they usually do is because when they give them the extra RPM you get a real shot forward, and if you're following somebody in that instance and then the RPMs suddenly drop off, it would be like the car stopping in front of you.
Absolutely, and very dangerous.
Safety reason, good, smart move by the Cosworth engineers.
Absolutely,
to figure that out in advance.
As we see, Tracy actually gave Bourdais a little bit of room going into turn 1 there, and gave Oriel a little bit of chance to catch back up in traffic.
There is Jimmy Vasso now running pretty much on his own in 4th place, about 10 seconds behind the leader. But look, we can see as they come past us, we're not looking at the moment, but Oriel Servia has closed down that gap to the first 2. Here we are. This is on board with AJ Allmendinger now, who's moved himself up to 5th place, and that's a heck of an effort. I spoke to AJ less than an hour before the start of the race, and he said, I'm frightened to death out there in this car. I've never driven anything so dangerous. He said, don't be surprised if I come in and park it after 15 laps. That's how unconfident he was going into the race.
He's obviously pretty happy with his car now. He's got one of the fastest cars out there, to be honest. He's running.
He has got the fastest lap. He's got the fastest lap of the race. So AJ Allmendinger is absolutely flying. 202 miles an hour. He has a P1 in terms of fastest lap. That is worth a championship point. Car number 8, Timo Glock, is being watched down the back straight for the line he's been taking. There's some talk that maybe he was perhaps using a defensive line. He's got Rodolfo Lavine directly behind him. There's a big battle there between Glock and Lavine for 8th place. Timo Glock is the best place of the rookies this evening. He's in 8th. Björn Wertheim is in 10th, and then Marcus Marshall in 12th. But is that Marcus actually?
This is Dominguez and Tagliani battling here for 6th and 7th place. Dominguez, they were both on the push to pass there, and Dominguez needing it to try and get around the outside, but he's hit that brick wall.
You see that rapid flash on the rear light there. That shows that they're using.
It's gone out now. 10 seconds doesn't last very long around the super speedway. It wasn't enough to push him past. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I was talking to several drivers drivers earlier on this afternoon. They were saying you really need 2 pushes to pass to actually complete the pass. The first one to get you alongside, and then the second one to complete the pass. So again, it's another part of the strategy that they had to use. And again, we've seen that most of the drivers are waiting to use that push to pass until the very end of the race. And I was talking with Tony Cotman, the race director, this morning, and he was saying he bet me that only 4 guys would have had the patience not to use it before the final couple of laps.
So tempting round here. You think you need it. Your foot's absolutely pinned to the floor. These guys aren't lifting at all around this track. Just 100% gas all the way around, apart from when you're in the back. You don't want to pass a guy, but when they're racing like Dominguez and Tagliani here, who's actually made the move around the outside, they're absolutely pinned to the guy. And all you think is you want more power. So you've got that push to pass button, and it's very tempting, I'm sure, to get on it.
So Bourdais has complained the car is still loose. He wants a little bit less front wing once again on that car. It will be his 3rd and probably final pit stop. We're on board again. This is again with AJ Allmendinger running in 5th place. He has at the moment set the fastest lap of the race, and again a remarkable turnaround by the Rousport team, at least for this young man. His teammate Justin Wilson is struggling. He's back in 11th place right now, and AJ is up in 5th. AJ on the lead lap. The top where's the last cars on the lead lap? I think it's Björn Verdheim there in 10th place, but he's in grave danger.
Yeah, it looks like he's just got a lap down now. Yes, he's in that pack. His car was very quick at the beginning of the race, as you see Tracy coming up on the outside of him, and I'm sure Björn with that car, he maybe just lost out a little bit on a slow pit stop, I believe, because he was running in a very, very strong 4th place over Tagliani. So
he's making Tracy go around the outside of him, and Tracy has done that. We can see we're on board here with Oriol Serbia. This is Björn Verdheim's car that we're about to pass. There is Björn on the inside. So it is, you can see the first 3 now back running in those to tail formation. So Serbia has made up that gap without using his push to pass.
Yeah, no, that was for sure Serbia, Bourdais and Tracy running side by side, creating an even bigger hole in the air for Serbia to catch from a lot further back. And
it was 2.5 seconds back after that last round of pit stops, Darren Manning. He's made it all up. That's a lot of ground here.
Absolutely. Well, these cars are creating a big draft, and he's probably using the back markers as well, as Tracy shows a little bit of a gap on the inside there going into turn 1, but Bourdais doesn't risk too much. He's still got a long way to go.
And the 2 cars in front of there is Rodolfo Lavin and Timo Glock, the DHL Global Mail car of Timo Glock, the best place of the rookies in 9th, and Rodolfo Lavin just ahead of him. So there's a big battle there going on for 8th and 9th places.
Especially now the leaders are coming up to put them a lap down. They won't want to give up any inch of the track, as we see Timo going really wide, trying to stay out of the rear wing of his counterpart.
He's already had a bit of a warning already from race control as Timo Glock for moving around on that back straightaway.
Serbia looks like he's trying to go around his teammate. He's very, very competitive. All weekend he's been battling with Bourdais for fastest lap time honours throughout every session. He was very disappointed that Bourdais pipped him in qualifying by like 4,000ths of a second or something. It was very, very close. So he wants to beat Bourdais as much as anybody.
Yeah, 7,000ths of a second. That's a couple of inches.
I was up by the TV with him, stood with him, and he was thumping the air when Bourdais went past and just pipped him.
He got the upper hand for the first time in his ChampCar career 3 weeks ago in Montreal. It had been 8 long years since he'd stepped into victory lane.
This is very, very tricky time now for Tracy, as we see Timo running really wide.
Oh dear, that was close going around turn 2. We got a glimpse of it from the onboard of Oriol Serbia, just a couple of cars ahead
Tracy
of him.
won't be very happy with that.
He was pushed pretty high coming off turn 2, wasn't he? Timo Glock has lost that lap.
He's been warned already, by the officials for weaving a little bit, and he's trying to race with Rodolfo, and the leaders, they've got to put up with that, unfortunately. Rodolfo should be a little bit easier to get round. He's pretty experienced on these ovals. He's pretty fast and very calm, and you see he's holding his line for Tracy to go the long way round.
Lavin had an excellent run here 1 year ago, driving for the Forsyth team in the Corona car. He finished 4th here 1 year ago, and an excellent run all night long, and he's been quick all weekend.
He's giving the inside lane to his ex-teammate. They've got a very good relationship, these two. Rodolfo's a very likeable guy, very fair on the track.
Yeah, he was only unlucky. He crashed that car last night. They switched to the backup car. This particular chassis set up in the Corona Verona colours. They were hoping to wait to leave this car to run until they went to Mexico City for the season finale in the first weekend of November, but because of the shunt last night,
Timo Glock there again pushing up Bordet. That was very, very naughty by Timo.
Yeah. And he's that was awfully close again going into turn 2. We're on board here. We've got a cat in the catbird seat. We're sitting on board with Oriol Serbia, and the spotters there. The spotter for Timo Glock is Tony Gentilozzi. He's all over the place. Yeah, he is all over the place.
And that's very, very dangerous as well, because he's not only taking the air off the front of Oriol's car here. And I think that was the team just telling Oriol to use the push to pass to get round Timo as soon as possible.
Yeah, but Bordet actually used it, so he has used 10 seconds worth on that push to pass as well. I'm sure Oriol's going to try not to, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, because he's in a great position here in third place. You know, he's saving probably the most fuel of anybody.
Yep. And again, here's a replay. We'll watch from the 2 cars in front of Oriol. Watch this.
Oh, Bordet way up in the dirt there. You saw the sand from when nobody's normally been running. That's how high up the track Bordet was.
Using the push to pass. See that rapid flash from Bordet's car? That indicates that he is using the push to pass. The solid light on Timo Glock's car. That just indicates he's a rookie.
Yeah. And not using the push to pass as well. So it was actually enough to get round Timo. So that was quite interesting. Yeah, that was pretty naughty.
Yeah, he's moving around an awful lot. I'm sure there's going to be. We haven't heard of any more warnings to the car number 8 from race control, but Timo Glock is going to have to watch his P's and Q's here in Las Vegas with 121 laps down.
On the road to the Masters. Eurosport and Eurosport 2 take you around the world. 6 weeks, 11 tournaments. A series of challenges where every match counts. The top men and women in a ferocious battle for those precious points. The road to the Masters from September 29th. Live on Eurosport.
The World Under-17s, the football tournament for the most talented teenagers on earth. Many stars have played in it, so who's next? 16 teams are taking part. Every one of them could produce the stars of tomorrow. The FIFA World Under-17 Championship from September 16th to October 2nd, live on Eurosport and Eurosport 2.
To the race leaders. Who are in 123 laps down now in Las Vegas in the Hurricane Relief 400. And there's a big spin!
That looks like Tracy to me.
Jeepers.
Now I don't know whether that was back marker traffic there. Yeah, that's the blue helmet of Paul Tracy.
And they was just shy of his third and final pit
You okay
stop.
there, buddy?
That's Neil Mickelride on the radio.
Yeah, that fucking hurt.
Oh.
I think that was a painful.
Well, are you hurt?
Let's listen.
No, I don't think so.
That's
good to hear from
news,
PT.
absolutely.
Okay.
He looked like he screwed
What
up a
happened?
lot
Did you just lose it or what?
No, fucking Sebastian hit me.
Sebastian hit me.
Wow.
That's interesting, isn't it? They were battling for the lead. We'll try and get a view of that.
But they're going through all the debris there.
Boy.
They were running.
Yeah, these two have been battling
close.
for the championship, and Paul Tracy
looked like it was on the back straight. It was going into turn 3 there. Here comes the replay.
Look at this.
Going up the inside. Tracy kind of closing him down a little bit. They were both below the white line though. That was serious
bizarre,
stuff,
wasn't it? Yeah. That was. I want another look at that one to see exactly where they were. But there's no doubt that Bordet hit the back of Paul Tracy's car, Darren Manning, and at that speed, at that point in a racetrack, boy.
Yeah, it didn't look like there was enough room for Bordet to be going through, but you know, there definitely was room for down the white line. But
I'd love to see the on-board view from Oriol Serbia, who was pretty tucked in behind those two. You can see the damage, the black mark on the nose cone, the the extreme front of the nose on Bordet's car.
Yeah.
And
looks like there's no damage for him, but just a little nudge at these speeds is all you need to lose control.
I wonder what the stewards are going to do about that, because clearly there was contact between those two, and we're going to have another replay. Here we are on board with Oriol Serbia. Let's see what we can see.
Just watch that white line on the far left of the screen. You can see all the cars moving down. Yeah, the ones with the lights there.
Yeah, unfortunately, he'd lost out in that that sequence of lapping that traffic at Oriol Servia, so he was far enough back that we didn't see too clearly that incident from those two. That's certainly a shame because, well, the whole thing's a shame because it was shaping up to be a really, really exciting race. And Paul Tracy, he's lost a lot of ground. He came into this weekend, fully 65 points behind in the battle for the championship. And actually, Paul Tracy, we believe, was about to make. I said he was about due for a pit stop, and we hear he was actually pulling down to come onto pit lane. This is the cars coming off turn 2, Darren Manning.
Yeah, they're very, very high on the track, and you watch Tracy. He'll come down to the white line as if he was actually going to pit and drop wheels below the white line, but maybe Bourdais spotted, didn't know. Bourdais got a run on him there. There is room. Not many more. Very, very close.
Now, there's not much that PT can do with that. I mean, he's down below the line, but so
it does look like he's pitting, and maybe he was braking and slowing down. So
yeah, that's a tough call, isn't it? What can you do in that instance? You can't put your hand up in these cars. You put your hand up at 200 miles an hour, it gets blown off.
I mean, the guys know that it's been, they've got the same information in front of them that we have here, and we knew that they were very, very close to pitting, and they've got. Tracy had 40 laps under his belt on that tank, and
Paul walking to the ambulance.
And that's where the pit lane entry is. So maybe Bourdais should have been on the outside of him and maybe give him a bit more room.
It looked like the contact was below that yellow line. Here is the pits are.
As we watch Bourdais, see if they make. They'll be checking the front wing.
Coming on pit lane.
The guys that are lap down, they'll probably be trying to get a lap back.
AJ wasn't a lap down, was he? Oh well, I'll tell you what. Oh well, this is interesting, isn't it? You're making a pit stop now. There's 40 laps to go. You should be able to get to the end from here.
Yep.
I don't understand why everybody would be pitting at this stage. Bourdais has made his pit stop. He's good to go now for the end of the night. He's got just 127. That's 39 laps to go at the end. So he certainly should be able to get to the end from here. And
all looked good on Bourdais' car. He had a quick check.
Yes, he had a look at that car, but I'm surprised certainly that the other guys didn't come in and take advantage of the first part of the yellow coming to make their stop. There's now a whole bunch of other guys are laid out on pit lane, including Allmendinger.
They're all coming in to make their pit stop now. I think lap down cars, they're all coming to the pit lane.
But also several guys that were on the lead lap as well, Darren. So curious strategy. Again, there's that nose cone of Sebastian Bourdais' car. You can clearly see the rubber marks from Paul Tracy. And again, back to that incident, the contact was made below the white line, Darren Manning. But when Sebastian is tucked right in behind him, can he see where that white line is?
Yeah, I mean, you've got a little bit of a visual in front of you, especially with the banking going round in front of you, and.
But what are you focused on? I mean, you're focused presumably on the tail lights of the car in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. And watching him slow down as we see AJ probably running out of fuel.
What a disaster! What a disaster for AJ Allmendinger. He's just.
It was 41 laps since he last pitted.
He's run out of fuel. He has been confirmed from the radio, and look at that, the frustration. As I said, I was talking to him less than an hour before the start, and he's still very mindful of those string of incidents earlier in the middle part of the season, starting in Toronto, then in Edmonton, and also in San Jose. 3 consecutive mistakes that cost AJ Allmendinger probably about 85 championship points, I reckoned, and he's still very mindful of that. He's come back strongly, had some good results in the last few races, but with the car being so nervous that this weekend, he was very jittery. He just wanted to bring that car home this evening. So to have the car running so well now, get up among the top 5, and now for this to happen, boy, what must be going through his mind, Darren?
Yeah, he was obviously very frustrated throwing his wheel. As we see the guys getting a pass around, the guys that didn't pit, they'll be passed around to the back of the field, and I'm sure they'll be pitting then. So these guys have all got their lap back by staying out there and pitting at the tail end here as they collect the leader, who is still Sebastian Bourdais. So he gets to go up behind the back of the pace car. All those guys that didn't pit, they'll be able to come into the pits now, get topped up. So poor AJ, that was just one lap too soon.
Yeah, a mistake for the crew not to call him in. He was still on the lead lap.
I'm sure they had to. I mean, if he wasn't a lap down, then that's a mistake.
Yeah, he was definitely on the same lap as the leader. I'm pretty sure he was on the same lap as the leaders, and they for whatever reason they missed to call him. I mean, there's a bunch of reasons why you could miss that radio call.
Yeah.
One of them being, you could be talking, do you want me to pit? Do you want me to pit? And they're trying to tell you, yes, but they don't have the opportunity.
Well, obviously Paul was coming into the pits, but Sebastian doesn't know that. And when Paul backed off to come into the pits, I mean, you're going 200, 201 miles an hour, and, you know, we hit him in the back. And I feel badly about that, but in the driver's meeting, they were very explicit how a driver had to indicate that it was his intention to pit. He has to get to the inside and start slowing down. And I think Tracy was planning to get into the pits as fast as he could, and we didn't know it was happening. So, again, I'm really sorry about it. Definitely, I wanted to race him at the end. I really would have preferred that. And I think we're pretty lucky that it looks like our car isn't more badly damaged. I will have to say, though, I've seen Paul Tracy with a big black mark on the nose of his car plenty of times.
Thank you, Craig. Let's get to Chris McClure.
Neil Mickelwright didn't hear any of that, but they say down there, Paul checked up. He was coming into the pits. We do know that. And Sebastian whacked him from the back, and he just didn't know he was going to lift. Are you buying that?
No, I'm not buying it. I mean, you know, it's up to the guy behind to, you know, to do the passing. I mean, if you can't come into the pit lane without being hit by the guy behind you, well, then obviously there's a problem. He's too close or whatever. I mean, clearly, any time that we have a problem with Bourdais, I mean, it's always our fault. I mean, God bless him. He can't, you know, he's perfect. He can't do anything wrong. But, you know, we led all night. He went by us a couple of times. We went by him. You know, we had a car that was just as quick as his, and he ran into the back of us. I mean, you can paint it any which way you like, but he ran into the back of us.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's go.
Thanks, Chris McClure there in the pits, and Jon Beek is talking with Craig Hampson, the race engineer, first of all, for Sebastian Bourdais. And that was Chris McClure talking with the Vice President of Operations for Forsyth Racing, Neil Mickelwright, and two very distinct viewpoints, Darren Manning.
Oh, yeah.
As ever.
Yeah, absolutely. You defend your man to the end of the earth, so...
It's a tough call, isn't it?
It is a very tough call.
When they came off turn 2, Paul Tracy was right to the outside. He pulled across to the inside. What more can he do?
Maybe just a little bit late. That's the only thing. You know, maybe he could have dipped it. He could have got right to the white line. There was no, you know, he wasn't on the white line. But like Neil did say, you know, he hit him from behind. You know, you've got to sometimes give these guys. Trace Bourdais had been going round the outside of him, as we see some replays of some contact between the two of them.
Monterey earlier in the season, there is Paul Tracy right on the edge of the racetrack, and Sebastian Bourdais drives over the left front wheel of Paul Tracy, and again, you know, another incident of contact.
Toronto as well.
There you go, coming out of the pit lane in Toronto, wallop.
Yeah, these two definitely had their fair share of comings together for sure, and they're always blaming each other for sure.
They are indeed, and there's certainly a great show. You can see there, that was the incident in Toronto, and after that, Tracy was just doing a sensational job. He'd lost the whole left front part of that wing, and he was still running incredible laps out in the lead of the race, until amazingly, they ran him out of fuel.
Yeah, that was absolutely unbelievable for him to, you know, we do these fine changes, you know, a quarter of a turn out of the front wing. As we see AJ, he must have got himself topped up with fuel, but
I think he's got him towed himself back. He's got to tow around, but he's a long way back.
Three laps down, maybe.
3 or 4 laps down. Show now in 15th place. So let's reset the field for you. We've got 132 laps complete, and we've got Bourdais out in front of Servia, Vassar, Dominguez, and Tagliani for Team Australia, rounding out the top 5 with 33 laps to go here in Las Vegas. There is the Intel car, the Rousport entry of AJ Allmendinger, and just a disaster for the young man. He'd done a brilliant job this evening after a very torrid time in the practice sessions when he was not at all happy with the handling of the car. But David Brown and the boys there really they did some massaging from the final session this afternoon. Clearly it was working very, very well indeed for AJ, if not for his teammates. And now AJ, running in the top 5, runs out of fuel and is out of the race. But here now is Jimmy Vassar, qualified in 3rd place, of course, and now finds himself in 3rd place once more. So that's good news for Jimmy. And of course, with this yellow, which is going to close right up onto the tail of the 2 Newman Haas entries. Yeah,
absolutely, and he's one of the guys. Him and Servia have got still all their 60 seconds of push to pass, and this is exactly what the p.g.a entry of Vassar was wanting. You know, get that yellow out so he could jump up to the leaders who he dropped off the back of. He was running into.
You what?
Sorry, I was just watching AJ Allmendinger behind the pace car there, and just going past the.
So the team for Sebastian Bourdais' team now is telling him, look, particularly with Tracy out of the race, just bring the car home. Don't worry too much about winning the race. You've got to think about the championship. He's now got he came in with a huge lead, and now he's pretty much got the championship secure. There has to be said, there's been talk this weekend about whether or not the race in Korea, South Korea, set for Ansan in 3 weeks' time. We hear mutterings there might be some problems with that event. It might not take place, and if so, it could be that Bourdais might have an unassailable lead going into the final. Therefore, it would be 2 races of the season. So we'll wait. And here's Jerry Forsyth talking with Carl Haas, and the team owner, of course, the 2 team owners there, Carl Haas of Sebastian Bourdais and Jerry Forsyth for Paul Tracy. And
doesn't look like Jerry's very happy.
He's not very happy at all, is he? And Carl coming down off the stand.
This would be a good fight.
Carl's pleading his case, and Jerry is not
I don't think he's
buying it.
I don't think by the way he looks there, he doesn't look like he's buying it at all to me.
He's pretty calm character generally, Jerry Forsyth. He doesn't generally get terribly excited, but he knows his man has effectively lost any chance of winning the championship as a result of that contact. And it's Jerry's clearly making his point.
A lot of finger pointing going on there.
Yeah, what a shame. It's such a shame it ends like that, because these two, they're fabulous competitors. We're going to try and get down and have a word with PT.
We heard you say on the radio you thought you were all right. Apparently that's the case.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit dazed there. I mean, obviously I hit the wall, about 190 miles an hour, so frustrating. I don't know what Bourdais was thinking. I was coming in the pits, and they listen to our radio conversations. They know I'm coming in the pits, and
they say they didn't.
Well, they listen to our radio, so they can say all they want, but they constantly monitor what we're saying on the radio as we do to them. So they knew I was coming in, and what Bourdais was doing under the white line, I don't know. So it's a hard hit, and we come out on the short end of the stick again, thanks to Sebastian.
Are you struggling to control your anger right now? Because I tell you what, Neil Mickelwright and Jerry Forsyth have been pretty angry out here.
Yeah, I mean, what am I supposed to say? I mean, he keeps doing the same thing all the time, but he seems to get away with it. So I guess it's good for him and bad for me. So it's just disappointing. I'm just frustrated. So he didn't have the car to beat us tonight. I came from the back to the front in 5 laps, and he didn't have anything for us. So that was the way he had to beat us.
We're gratified you're all right. Thank you.
Pretty classy, really.
Yeah, that was pretty calm for PT there, really. As we see,
they're coming off turn 2 there. You can see Paul Tracy now beginning to move to the inside. He's about halfway down the straightaway there before he begins to move across, and Bourdais just looking to the inside there. As you say, Paul Tracy, quite rightly, he knows that the Newman Haas team must have been expecting him to pit. His first pit stop was on lap 40. His second pit stop was on lap 81, and the incident came on lap 123.
And also what PT was saying was absolutely correct there. They absolutely know for sure that when these guys are going to be pitting, the spotters up the top there are talking between each other, and they're saying, they're tapping their spotter on the shoulder saying, my guy's going to be pitting in two laps, in 1 lap, make sure you know. So Bourdais looked like he lifted off, even though he was right down on the white line. He looked like he lifted, but didn't expect PT to be braking, which he probably was doing at that stage. And it's trying to get into the pit.
Colin Duff, who is the spotter for Sebastian Bourdais, he has a massive amount of experience, been with this team a long time, in F1 before that. So there's certainly that miscommunication, but the end result isn't going to change. Paul Tracy is out of the race, and Sebastian Bourdais is leading, and we're getting ready to come back to green. Good jump there that Sebastian Bourdais gets, and I think Aurel Serbia pretty much allowed him to get a big jump, and yes, and as a result of that, the yellow is being shown. So JD Wilbur there and Tony Cotman up in race control right next to us, not happy with that.
That was restart. A very bad restart, or a very good restart by Sebastian. He started accelerating down the back straight there and tried to get a real jump, which he did. But
between 3 and 4.
Again, that's a transgression of the rules. The drivers know what the rules are. They're told very clearly in the drivers' meeting when they're supposed to accelerate coming after a restart. So
I think that was just a little bit too early by Sebastian, but and caught everybody by surprise.
So he's got to be a little bit careful here, otherwise he's going to get the rule book. He's going to get in charge.
Getting ready for the
a reminder of the acceleration point from the race
director. Here we go. They're starting to accelerate. There's no green flag yet. And goes green, green, green.
Green.
There is the
top
green
three,
flag.
very close together. Jimmy Vasser closing up on the back of Oriel as well. So this is it, 3 wide. This is great racing.
And Oriel Serbia using the push to pass in the middle there. We're on board with Oriel Serbia. We're watching him from Jimmy Vasser. You can see the flashing red light of Oriel Serbia. Finally using some of his
very close there by Björn, coming off the white line on the inside, nearly collecting his teammate. That wouldn't have been a very good way to.
Jeepers, that is close.
You can hear the spotters talking to each other. They were actually told before they got to this restart to work together to pull away from everybody else, but that's not what they're doing.
Do you call that working together?
No, definitely not.
Definitely not. And Jimmy Vasser there in the catbird seat looking from behind, and right behind him now is Mario Dominguez. Alex Tagliani doing an excellent job for Team Australia in 5th place. Then Björn Verdheim and Rodolfo Lavin still on the lead lap. So we've got 7 cars in contention to win this motor race with just 26 laps to go, Darren Manning.
This is absolutely flat out racing to the end here. You know, Borde's going to stick to that white line as we see a replay of Borde just coming off the white line there. That was he knew that Serbia was there. That was very close, very dangerous.
What was he thinking?
Maybe
halfway down the back straight, he drove into the side of his teammate.
See another teammate. Another one interlocking wheels there with his teammate. That was, I'm sure Oriel's very angry, looking over to the left there. There's such wheels there.
That is absolutely amazing. He's a championship leader, number 1. His primary rival is already out of the motor race. Oriel Serbia filling in, of course, for the injured Bruno Junqueira. And then again, we should remind everybody that Bruno is doing great. He's making a really good recovery and hoping to make his return to the ChampCar World Series in the finale in Mexico City in about a month's time. But Oriel's doing a fabulous job, and they're pretty good buddies, Borde and Oriel Serbia. But it wouldn't appear that way there, because you could quite clearly see that Borde moved up into the path, moved up into the side of Borde's car, halfway down the back straight. Amazing. But anyhow, no harm, no foul, I guess. And the first two, they're still out in front, the 2 Newman House cars. There is Jimmy Vasser tucking in behind, and it's Mario Dominguez in 4th, Tagliani 5th, Verdheim an excellent 6th.
He's moved back up after that pretty poor pit stop. It looked like they moved him back down into about 15th place at the beginning of the race. So he was running up in 4th in front of Jimmy Vasser and just lost out a little bit. As we see, we're on board with Oriel, and Jimmy Vasser looks like he's got a run on him going around the outside into turn 3. You can't see him yet on the TV, but he's absolutely on his rear quarter. Probably going to tuck in underneath the rear wing, and he does.
And right behind these two, Björn Verdheim just set the fastest lap of the race, 203.199 miles an hour, 26.575 seconds. So right now is Björn Verdheim gunning for that fastest lap bonus point that is in offer in every ChampCar World Series event.
Yeah, looking back here now on Jimmy Vasser, who's been working the outside corner of Oriel Serbia's for the last couple of laps here.
And Oriel's got a good run up here. He's got a big toe from Borde, and he's drawing closer and closer as they come towards the start-finish line. And there they go now. That is 146 laps into the book, so 20 laps now to go.
Yeah, these 3 are starting to pull away. This is great for Vasser, who got dropped off the back of this lead pack of 3 when Tracy was in it earlier on in the race. So that yellow was just what he wanted, and his car looks pretty fast. He doesn't look to be able to keep it down quite as low as the Newman Haas cars, but he's able to keep in the draft and stay really close to these guys.
Jimmy Vasser's got a lot of wins on the ovals, and of course amongst his 3 super speedway wins, 2 of them at Fontana in 98 and 02. The second of those races was won at an average speed of 197.995 miles an hour. At the time, that was the fastest motor race ever. Amazing. Fastest open wheel race ever, I should say. Before they changed the rules in NASCAR stock cars, they had some quicker races at Talladega, but an amazing feat. So Jimmy Vasser has a massive amount of experience, of course. He knows how to win on every single sort of racetrack. This is his 229th start for Jimmy Vasser. But it's been a long time since he scored his last win. The last win was at that race at Fontana in 02, 43 races ago. He's overdue, isn't he?
He certainly is. He's been around a while, as old Jimmy, but we won't like us calling him old, but he's definitely doing a good job tonight. He's just dropping a little bit off the pace, but he's still close enough to get a draft off these guys. As we see the pack that had all closed up. The last car on the lead lap is Rodolfo Lavin.
Yeah, Justin Wilson's done well lately. He's got himself now up into 8th place. He was well outside the top 10. He's got himself now.
He got one of his laps back
as a result of that caution coming out before he had to make a pit stop. So stroke of luck there for Justin. Well, he's just actually lost a position to Timo Glock. So Glock now up into 8th place.
That's the battle that
Justin
we're seeing now on TV.
indeed.
Yeah, with Björn and Tagliani, Timo Glock, Justin Lavin.
Yeah, there's a lap between those two, Lavin and Wertheim now up into 5th place ahead of Tagliani and Lavin.
Right there, yeah. There you go. Now we switch over to Jimmy on the back of Oriel.
Here we are back to that battle. There is Björn Wertheim on the right of the screen, and right behind him is Alex Tagliani. The battle for 5th and 6th places. That is the blue and white car, the second of the 4 South entries of Mario Dominguez now in 4th place, and you can see the gap from these 3 here to the 3 leaders, Sebastian Bourdais, Oriol Servia and Jimmy Vasser. And again, Jimmy is close up a little bit. There's about, 8 or 10 car lengths between each of the first 3 cars. And then, about a second, 1.6 seconds back to Mario Dominguez in 4th place and right tucked up behind Mario.
Yeah, this is 4th, 5th and 6th place here now. So this is a great little battle for the front 3 and then the second 3 behind him. So this is what oval racing is all about. The last sprint to the end. Nearly 14 laps to go now. So this is when everybody really starts to push hard.
Nitty-gritty time, isn't it? And the fastest lap of the race so far set by Björn Wertheim. Second fastest lap by Rodolfo Lavin. Alex Tagliani, the 3rd fastest lap. Then Oriol Servia, 4th. Jimmy Vasser, 5th fastest lap. And Sebastian Bourdais, the 8th fastest lap. But Mario Dominguez only the 13th quickest lap, but just 0.3 of a second covering those 13 cars. It is close here in Las Vegas. 13 laps to go now. They come across the line one more time, and the gap between those top 3 just seems to be extending just a little bit, about 0.4 of a second, about 10-12 car lengths between the first and the second, and the second and third placed cars. And it's going to take a fair bit now for anybody to make a move. They're far enough apart that it's going to be hard to catch up. But they both have, all 3 of them have some push to pass left. Sebastian Bourdais and Oriol Servia both have 50 seconds worth of push to pass. We see that battle side by side now with Rodolfo Lavin and Björn Wertheim. And again, Wertheim just nosing ahead that time. It was Lavin who had his nose ahead at the start-finish line last time around. But going through turns 1 and 2, it's Rodolfo Lavin who has to tuck in behind Björn Wertheim. And it says this is a great battle. It's not over yet. There is 4 cars there. Dominguez, Tagliani, Lavin and Wertheim battling for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. They are the last cars on the lead lap. And then behind them is Timo Glock and Marcus Marshall. And Ryan Hunter-Reay and Justin Wilson is shown now all of a sudden back in 11th place.
He's dropped way off the pace. Dropped back down into 11th, way off the back.
Yeah, way off the pace. He was 2.5 off last time around, so clearly some sort of a problem all of a sudden for Justin Wilson. What a shame. He's done a super job to get himself well up inside the top 10. And Marcus Marshall, it's a call for young Marcus. He's having by far his best run in the ChampCars. Got himself up into 9th place now.
Björn and Tag going side by side here. Tag getting moved up the track very, very wide there, coming off of turn 2 down the back straight. So they're still side by side.
Super battle between these.
Rodolfo had a bit of a look there on the outside, but thought better of it.
Great stuff between these 4. This is the battle of the race at the moment. The first 3 actually.
As we see Timo.
Bourdais has suddenly slowed going around turns 1 and 2, I think. Did he? Let's have a look. Let's get back.
It did look like Bourdais, yes, absolutely.
Maybe it was, sorry, I beg your pardon, it was a lap car.
It
was a lap car, I beg your pardon. False alarm.
It's a long way away from us.
It's awfully difficult. Even under the lights here in Las Vegas, super view here from the grandstand.
It was Malcolm Marshall getting laps again. Jimmy Vasser's just getting dropped off the leaders here, the Newman Haskell, showing their pace from the weekend. They've been a couple of mile an hour faster by themselves than everybody else, so looks like they've been saving up for the last 10 laps to go, 7 laps to go right now, but they've pulled away from Jimmy, and he's all on his own in 3rd place, and this huge battle guys pushing the boost button and getting past back markers and each other, so this is a great little battle.
So Wernham has used all of his push to pass. Alex Tagliani has probably 2 pushes left actually. He's got 13 seconds, so maybe he just used 7 seconds and lifted off the throttle to use that. That's interesting.
I'm sure, yeah.
He's probably got 2 pushes to go. Levine has just 1 push of that push to pass button, so that battle is certainly far from over. There is Jimmy Vasser, a pretty lonely third placer now, as you say.
Just watching him on
less than 5 laps to go.
Absolutely, just watching him here come through the corners. Just watch how much steering input he's trying to get on the car, and he's still not down by the white line, which is the shortest and fastest way around this track if you've not got any understeer, which it looks like Jimmy's kind of struggling with just a little bit.
The Newman Haas team telling Sebastian Oriol to work together and pull away. Well, they've done that very effectively now, and as they come across the line to complete lap 162, 4 laps to go. That time around the relative lap times 26.778 for the race leader Bourdais, 26.734, so just 0.04 of a second between those two. He looks a little bit closer than he was a couple of laps ago. He's still got a lot of work to do, has Oriol Serbia. He's going to get that second consecutive win here in the ChampCar World Series. It was oh so sweet for him in Montreal 3 weeks ago. Oriol Serbia, the likeable Catalonian from Barcelona, makes his home now in Miami, Florida, and
as we get
now with
pushing a little bit of push to pass to try and get around the outside of Tagliani for that 6th place, and he looks like he's got it. The leaders have got past Justin Wilson. It sounds like he's got a little bit of a sick motor maybe, or maybe stuck in a gear. Long way off.
2 laps to go now, and they're both using the push to pass. They're inside the final 2 laps. We're going to see they're using all the push to pass now in his final 2 laps. There's all to go. Bourdais certainly lost a little bit of gun. He's very on it again now. Look at that flashy light. Oriol's thinking.
I'm sure Oriol's just not using his, which he isn't, and just staying in the draft and getting sucked along. Now he's using it as we got the white flag to go. Last lap.
JD Wilbur waves the white flag. It's the Newman Haas cars as it was 1 year ago when Bourdais and Junqueira were side by side for the last 15 or 20 laps.
Now they're not very wide. He got right underneath the rear wing, too fast into turn 2 and just understeered. They're using all their push to pass. See if Oriol's got anything coming up. He looks like he's maybe just a little bit too far back.
He is, and I think it's going to be Sebastian Bourdais. There are the double checkered flags, and it is going to be Sebastian Bourdais who wins. Carl and Bernie. Here's a battle though between Levine on the outside and Bernheim on the inside, and he just gets his nose ahead. That was for 5th place. So Bourdais, Serbia, Jimmy Vasser, a relatively lonely 3rd, Mario Dominguez in 4th. And there goes the thumbs up from a gracious loser, Oriol Serbia. But I wonder how happy he's going to be when he gets out of that car, when he reflects on that incident on the back straight about 25, 30 laps
I'm
to go.
sure he'll be happy he won.
Oh no, it's Oriol. I mean.
Oh, Oriol, yeah, absolutely, yeah. He was probably very angry with his teammate there. But that was probably one of the opportunities.
Win number 5 this season for Sebastian Bourdais, and it makes that 2nd consecutive championship looking very, very good for this very talented Frenchman. So there is the victory donuts or croissants, as they're not very good, are they, Darren? Not very tidy, but he won't mind. He's just thrilled to get another win, and he came in here with a huge advantage, and he's going to extend that advantage. It's certainly going to be, I think, well, it's looking good once again for another 1-2 in the championship for Newman Haas Racing, just as it was 1 year ago. Last year, Bourdais won the championship from his teammate Bruno Junqueira. This year, it's going to be once again the McDonald's car of Sebastian Bourdais. It would appear well clear of again the Pacific Air car, but this time driven for most of the season at least, or all bar the first couple of races, by Oriol Serbia. And Oriol's done a fantastic job since getting into that car. He's moved himself up from 11th in the points to 2nd, but it's all about this man, Sebastian Bourdais, this afternoon.
100% impact.